Hello, hello. Welcome to tonight's mindfulness talk. I'm going to turn on Instagram for one moment.
Hi.
Hello, Anna. Hello, welcome. I'm just getting everything started here. Hi. 1 second. Okay. Welcome, Anna. This is your
You're
first.
on mute.
Oh. Welcome. This is your first mindfulness talk joining. I'm so excited to have you. Hello, welcome everyone. We're
Yeah.
going to start mindfulness talk in a second. So, Anna, I have essentially three screens going on, so just bear with me.
No worries.
Beautiful, but I'm so glad you made it. All right.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
I'm going to go ahead and just get us to hello everyone on Instagram. I'm going to get everyone to just kind of drop into a little grounding meditation first. You know how I do it, Anna.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna mute microphones. Welcome, Thomas. Thank you for joining. Hello, everyone. All right, so I tonight's talk is called "The Courage to Begin Again," and I am so excited to just have you all here. So thank you. We will go ahead and just drop into a little bit of a grounding meditation first. So I invite everyone to just take a comfortable seating position, and if it feels right, to close your eyes or keep them open and look at something with a soft gaze. But just to essentially let go of everything that got us to this moment. So I invite you in this moment to just take a deep breath in through the nose and a long exhale. And then again, just another deep breath in through the nose. And you can do an open mouth sigh or out the nose, whatever feels right. And then in this moment, I'm going to invite you to just bring awareness to the natural flow of your breath now. Not trying to control or fix, just observing for a few moments. And then in this space, I invite you to bring your attention to your mind for just a moment to notice how the mind is right now. If it's busy, lots of thoughts, maybe it's more calm. Just observing with curiosity. Letting things be just as they are without needing to change your experience. And now letting the awareness of the mind fall to the background, I'm going to invite you now to bring your awareness to your body, starting at the facial area and just noticing where there might be some tension. And if it's possible to just invite a sense of softening, maybe in the forehead or the jaw. down the neck and shoulders. And then down to the belly. And again, just inviting a sense of softening in the belly space. And just enjoying this moment of grounding. And for the final part of this just grounding meditation, I invite you to check in and sense that felt sense of the body touching the ground. So maybe it's the feet touching the floor, or your legs touching the seat. And just inviting a sense of being held in this moment, being supported by the earth beneath you. When it feels right, to just slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and open your eyes when it feels right. Um, and I'd love to just hear maybe one word, or you can write in the chat of kind of how you're feeling today, what's alive for you. Do just a little short check-in before we begin. So feel free to write in the chats on Instagram, Zoom. You can unmute and speak, whatever feels right. Just a couple of moments. Feeling busy. Yes, I get that, Anna. Thank you for sharing. Anyone in Instagram? I am also feeling just busy and tired, feeling kind of tense. Okay, Tom. Beautiful awareness. And yeah, the invitation is whatever's here, just to allow it as much as possible to just be here. So thank you both for sharing where you're at, what's alive for you. And we have here, oh, Lena, feeling relaxed. Oh, I love that. And good light, feeling unsettled. Yeah. And again, these uncomfortable feelings, if we can invite a sense of just allowing them to be as best we can. So thank you so much for sharing. All right. I am also, just feeling busy and tired, but we are here. We are showing up. So let's go. All right. So to jump back to start this talk, it's the courage to begin again. So I'd like to begin with a question. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the hardest part isn't knowing what to do, but it's taking that first step? Hold on. Give me 1 second, everyone. I'm going to turn up the it's like very dark, my screen. Okay. So, right? Noticing that it's the hard part isn't knowing what to do, but it's taking that first step. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's applying for a job. Maybe starting therapy, beginning a meditation practice. Maybe it's setting a boundary, or just possibly sharing your art with someone. And maybe it's trusting again, trusting yourself, trusting someone else. So from the outside, these moments seem small. Thank you for Nisha. Thank you. So from the outside, these steps, these things that we know we have to do, the moments may seem small, right? But on the inside, they can feel enormous. And it's not because we're weak. Hola, Carol. It's not because we're weak, but it's because something inside of us has learned that change can feel unsafe. Right? Yeah, I see you nodding. That resonates, right, Anna? So tonight I want to explore something that completely changed for me the way I understand fear. So what if fear isn't the enemy? What if fear is simply a protective response from a nervous system that's trying to keep us alive? And it may possibly be using information that's no longer true. Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. I feel one of the greatest misunderstandings is believing we're making decisions consciously, right? But most of the time, our nervous system decides first. Okay, our mind simply explains the decision afterwards. So the body asks, is this familiar? Not, is this healthy? Because familiarity often feels safer than freedom. And it's so bizarre, right? I mean, of course, it's not bizarre. I mean, we feel safe with what's familiar for us, of course. Okay, I can go on a tangent. That's why I have to follow my my outline. Okay, but so even when familiar hurts, so it may feel safer than freedom, but even if that familiarity is hurting you. So we stay in relationships that don't nourish us. We stay in jobs that drain us. We stay quiet when we really want to speak. We postpone our dreams. And it's not because we don't want something different, but because our nervous system has learned, I've survived this before. Okay. And this is why I feel awareness is so important. Because until we become aware, we really mistake familiarity for truth. Right? Even if it's draining us, even if it's not nourishing. And that's probably been one of the biggest lessons to learn, really, for me in my own life. So one of my favorite teachings from my teacher where I studied mindfulness, Tara Brach, she always says that what we resist tends to persist. Okay. So what we resist tends to persist. But when we can bring awareness to something, something begins to soften. And it's not because awareness magically fixes us. How many times have you heard me say that, Anna? Right? And when I'm teaching mindfulness, my awareness, it's not here to magically make things go away or to fix us, right? But what it does is it interrupts the unconsciousness. Ah, yes, Tara. Yes, yes, definitely. I'm so glad she's one of your teachers as well. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, so awareness interrupts the unconsciousness. So we cannot choose differently until we can first see clearly. Right? I love your shaking your head. Thank you, Anna. I'm like, okay, it's making sense. Good. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking too fast, so I try to slow down. All right. None of us arrived here afraid of speaking our truth. At least I think. Or believing we weren't enough. Okay? Or feeling we had to earn love. Okay? They're adaptations. They're protective strategies. And when we were young, our nervous system was constantly learning. Right? It noticed what got approval. It noticed what got rejected. It noticed, when do I feel safe? Or when do I feel alone? Right? So over time, those experiences become patterns. And eventually, they become our identity. Right? It's so crazy how, as children, and it's because, as children, we're so intelligent. These adaptations that we learn to protect ourselves, or how to earn love, or to not be rejected, or to feel safe, these adaptations, we're so intelligent. The problem is that we carry them our whole lives, right? So over time, obviously, they become patterns, and eventually they become our identities. And so that becomes, I can't trust, it possibly becomes, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm not confident. But again, those aren't identities. They're learned strategies. And I feel like that's hopeful, because what we learned can also gently, with patience, be unlearned. All right. Fear doesn't begin in the mind. It begins in sensation. So before the thought, there is the body. Maybe your chest tightens, your stomach contracts, your throat closes, your breathing becomes shallow, your shoulders tense up. That's where I carry mine. And then you start scanning, planning, overthinking, replaying conversations, imagining every possible outcome. So the mind believes it's solving the problem. But often it's just trying to reduce uncertainty. And when I learned that in my own experience, in my own life, ooh, that hit hard. That was when a huge just layer dropped, and I really started to be able to sit in the uncertainty. And it's been a beautiful just awareness in my own life. So, the practice isn't to eliminate fear. It's learning how to stay present enough that fear no longer drives the car. Right? And again, this is why mindfulness matters. Hi, Brandon. Mindfulness matters because it doesn't remove the discomfort, but it helps us notice. Oh, fear is here. Right? Instead of I am fear. And that tiny shift changes everything. So I'm going to give an example because it happened to me tonight, right before this talk. I was sitting just going over my talk, and I realized that there was someone I wanted to invite tonight. And I noticed this familiar hesitation. And immediately, just like that, I could feel it in my stomach. My stomach was just knotted, and it was such a tight knot. I could literally, and again, as soon as I felt it, all of a sudden the story started coming. Right? I started just constantly. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it'll be awkward. Maybe it's better not to. And then I realized I'm about to teach on fear tonight. So I paused. I felt my feet on the ground. I took a breath. I noticed the sensation in my body. I thanked the fearful part for trying to protect me. And then I asked, if fear wasn't making this decision, what would feel true? Okay, so the fear didn't disappear, but it no longer made the decision. So I sent the invitation, and then I just went on with the rest of the class, feeling still the tightness, right? Still there, didn't go away. So again, that's that perfect example, right? Mindfulness didn't just make it go away, but I could be with it. I could build the capacity to, oh, fear is here. Okay. So, I'm not going to say that part. So, the practice again essentially was staying with myself instead of letting fear run the show. People often imagine courage as feeling fearless. From a person who takes a lot of risk in life, it's definitely not fearless. It usually feels tender, shaky, vulnerable. The body might still be afraid. The heart may still be racing. But again, fear is no longer making the decision. Courage says, I hear you. Thank you for trying to protect me. But we're going to choose differently today, in this moment. Okay, so again, it's meeting that fear with kindness instead of fighting it. So it's what feels true. Because fear asks, what if I fail? Presence asks, what's the next step? Right? And I went through that recently too. I made one of the biggest transitions in many years recently. And we go into this, I can never say the word right, but catastrophizing. You know what I'm saying? Making it, to be this horrible thing that's going to happen. And again, it's that, what if I've made the worst decision of my life? What if I fail? But this dropping into presence. Okay, wait a minute. What's the next step? So fear contracts. Courage expands. Oh, Cynthia, saudade, amiga. So again, fear contracts. Courage expands. Not all at once. Sometimes it's just by taking one deep breath or one next step. And I feel that beginning again has been misunderstood, because I feel that it's not pretending that the past didn't happen. It's bringing everything we've learned into this moment without letting the past make today's decisions. So every breath is beginning again. Every moment of awareness, and you've heard me say this in my mindfulness classes, that moment we notice we're lost in thought, we come back to the body, we begin again. Sometimes it's over and over and over and over again, right? So every moment of awareness is beginning again. And every time you notice yourself caught in an old pattern, and just by choosing presence instead, not because you're becoming someone new, because you're remembering something that goes way deeper, way ancient. You pause. In that quiet place that has always known the way. You pause into that place of coming home to yourself. Oh, yeah. All right, we're almost finished. So one last thing, we're going to jump into meditation. I just want to say is that the nervous system isn't interested in happiness. Okay? The nervous system is interested in predictability. And sometimes healing asks us to choose what is true over what is familiar. And at first, that can feel very risky. But I feel, again, with awareness, compassion, and practice, what once felt unfamiliar begins to feel like home. Okay? So we're going to go into a meditation now. See the small. Okay, beautiful. I'm right on time. I love this. Meditation will be about 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. So just, yeah. Anna, feel free to turn off your camera if you'd like as well. And yeah, let's just get in a comfortable sitting position, everybody. All right. So I invite you now to just come into stillness, just arriving by maybe taking a couple of deep breaths in through the nose so we can start this meditation. And maybe a long exhale. And then just bringing your awareness for a moment to the natural flow of your breath. Knowing that we're not here to change anything. I'm simply here to just invite curiosity tonight. And just to invite a sense of being held by the earth beneath you, by just sensing into the chair, the contact between maybe your legs on the chair, your feet touching the ground. And in this space, I'm going to now gently invite you to bring to mind an area of your life where you may be standing at the edge of something new. Perhaps there's a decision you've been avoiding, a conversation you may need to have. Maybe it's a boundary you're afraid to set. Or maybe it's just something you want to begin. You don't need to choose the biggest thing in your life, but just bringing into awareness something that feels present, but also manageable. Now, when you bring to mind the moment of taking that step, bringing the arc of the story, the image to your mind, whatever it is that you have to do or that you want to do. And as you think about taking that next step, notice what happens inside of you. Notice what thoughts arise. Perhaps the mind says, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm rejected? Whatever is here, without judging any of it, just simply recognize. And in this space, I invite you to just quietly name it to yourself. You can gently just say, fear is here. I'm scared. Or uncertainty is here. But let the naming be something simple. Remembering that you're not trying to make fear disappear. You're simply letting the fear come out of the shadows and into awareness. And now, after you've named it to yourself, I'm going to invite you, if you can simply just allow whatever fear is here to just be as it is, taking up space. Not because you want it to stay forever, but because fighting fear usually gives it more power. And you can gently whisper to the fear, you can be here. I see you. You belong, whatever works in your experience. And if possible, imagine saying this to a younger part of yourself. A part that learned somewhere along the way that change was dangerous. Taking a risk could mean losing love or safety or approval. Now we're going to go just a little deeper. I'm going to invite you to bring your attention out of the story and into the body. Feeling the sensation itself the best you can. Just noticing, where do you feel the sensation in the body? Perhaps it's a knot in the stomach, or pressure in the throat. Maybe it's tingling in the chest. And I invite you in this moment, as you feel whatever sensation is here or not here. If you're not feeling anything, let that be okay. Whatever's here, sensing into the sensation. What color is it? What texture? Is there movement? Is it heavy? Now that you've connected a bit with this sensation by bringing it to life, I want you to ask the sensation a question. And that question is, what are you afraid might happen? And then listen. And if possible, to listen from not from the thinking mind, but listen through the body. Perhaps the answer is, I'm afraid I'll fail, or I'm afraid I'll be alone or judged. Whatever's here, let it be heard. And then maybe, if it feels right, to ask one more question to the sensation, and that is, what are you trying to protect me from? Because beneath the fear, there's often an attempt to keep us safe. And whatever arises, I invite you to just bring your hand to the part of the body where you do feel the sensation. And to start to finalize this meditation, I invite you to bring presence to the sensation. By feeling, sensing into the warmth of your hand on your body. And if it feels right in your experience, to bring in some type of affirmation to yourself, to this younger part of yourself. Which may be, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to be fearless. Maybe it's just, I see you, and it's okay. And in this space, I invite you to ask the sensation one more thing, which is, what do you need from me right now? Let whatever come be just as it is. Maybe it needs rest. Maybe this part of you needs patience or permission. And I invite you to just offer whatever feels true. Not forcing a final outcome, but just giving presence to this part of ourselves. We can listen to our fear and care for that part of us that is afraid, and still choose what feels true. So in this final moment, I invite you to just sit in that care for a moment. When the time feels right, you'll slowly start to just wiggle your fingers and your toes. Noticing your breath. And just noticing that this moment is not the past. You're not the same person you were when this fear began. You have more awareness, more compassion, and more capacity. And you are allowed to begin again. Not by rejecting who you have been, but by bringing every part of you with you. The frightened part, the courageous part, and the uncertain part. And the wise part. So if it feels right, I invite you to just slowly, maybe take one more deep breath and just slowly come back to this space. And opening your eyes just when the time feels right. Thank you for joining, everyone. How was that for you, Anna? Let me see. Ah, you're so welcome. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so good, happy that it resonated and it felt good. And thank you, everyone who joined on. Hi, Maven. Thank you, everyone who joined on Instagram and YouTube. And I just invite us all in this moment to just bring our hands to our heart space in a prayer position and just to bow down to our hearts and just thank ourselves for giving ourselves the gift of presence tonight. May the work and healing we do here today radiate within our own human experience. Therefore, it radiates to all those around us, our friends, our loved ones, and the world at large. May there be peace on earth. May there be justice on earth. And may we and all beings feel safe, give love, receive love, and be love. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have such a wonderful evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, Anna.